Name: Anthem. Title: The Red Tempest. Race: Glatorian. Element: None. Alignment: Neutral Evil. Faction: The Night Ensemble. As a child, Sentra was a peaceful member of the Glatorian Fire Tribe, until she was made a slave by Skrull raiders. She was forced to fight against Agori and other young Glatorian to the death, just for food. Eventually she escaped, but was quickly pursued. She fought desperately for survival, until she was rescued by Elegy. Elegy asked for her loyalty in exchange for protection, and Sentra readily accepted her new role as Anthem. Anthem sees the Night Ensemble as her new family, and does anything she can to help them, even if their goals are nefarious. Anthem wears the group's signature Konohi Ruru, but with a third extra ornamental horn. She fights mainly with devastating kicks, but keeps a pair of boomerangs to occupy her hands and for a semi-ranged option. To fit in with the musical theme, she carries a drum, and sings an alto to nocturne soprano. Anthem's theme song is Atolm Dragon from Panzer Dragoon Saga. It features a strong drum beat and a powerful sense of direction, suggesting that she knows exactly what she wants and how to get it, so you'd best not get in her way. This concludes the story section of this review. Salutations and praise the table. Welcome to the mock section of this review of Anthem. Now, right away what we can see with this figure is that it's very curvaceous, if you know what I mean. Thick, if you will. And that's kind of what I was going for. She's basically the muscle of the group. And to accomplish that, she needed some bulk. I always kind of wanted to try what we have here with these Metru torsos as her legs. Ever since I saw them in use on Mockman Smitty, but I suppose we'll get to those when we get to those. Alright, I hope that jump cut went well, because I do not want to do this again. So anyway, we're diving right into those plastic shins here with the feet. Nothing to gawk at, we just standard Metru feet. I did feel to best aid the texture, I would have to fill in this area with some clay, and so that's what I did. I think it looks a little better. Who knows? It's certainly not too offensive, hardly noticeable in fact, especially when viewed edge-on like this. But that's, and then just a little bit of Technic in here to hold in the connectors, but that is all I really have to say about the feet. Moving on to the interesting part. I'm not sure what set these are supposed to come from, but they are so useful. These lovely Technic pieces here. Could they be Robo Riders? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna stop shaming myself by guessing, but we got what I think is a pretty smooth and satisfying shape overall. Got some extra Technic in here to just kind of fill up some empty space, and actually there's a Hordika neck buried in there, and that's what the foot is attached to. So, yeah. And then there's just a lift arm in here to fill up the empty space. So, what I really want to talk about here is these knees. They are wheels. there are wheels on the knees, and they have a few of these silver studs on them, which I think is a nice repeating design seen as well on the shoulders, except it's just with these little, what are those supposed to be called? Sleeves? I can't remember right now. Anyway, the knees. We'll get to that when we get to that. So, let me just show off the bendage here. A bit more than 90 degrees, just the way I like it. 90 degrees is actually my hard limit for any mock. If I'm stuck between trying to make it look better and trying to give it more posability, then 90 degrees is a nice compromise you can always arrive at. So that's that. And that's just connected to another Technic hand connector, and that's stuck into the Metru bodies. These Metru torsos, they're an interesting part. The first time I've ever seen them used anywhere like this was on one of the Dark Hunters in the Dark Hunter Handbook. I forget his name, but maybe he was just Hunter. Who knows? I can't remember. So I always wanted to kind of do something with that. So, and then I saw them used exactly this way. Well, not exactly this way, obviously, but pretty close to this way, just as the thighs, on one of Mockman Smitty's mocks, and it looked fabulous. The shape was just amazing. So I wanted to try that sometime, and lo and behold, on Bricklink I saw two of these and had to give it a try. So that, I think it worked out quite well. Let me just zoom out a little bit. The bigger picture here. We actually have, if I just move these boomerangs out of the way, the shape is not as good without them, sadly. Rather, just a straight freaking 90 degree, oof, yeah, that's not too good, but, it's serviceable. Anyway, but what I was getting at here was these rubber bands. So as it is, this connection here with this handpiece onto here, not that stable. It's actually quite weak here because it just basically hinges on this, and if that ever breaks, then it's screwed. So I figured, why not add some extra structure here to keep it in place and and it's pretty stable, I think, especially with these new style hand connectors. Those are just wonderful. But yeah, I think it works pretty well. It's actually, you can see a bit of rubber band inside there, and that's just holding on to some more Technic. So that is that. And I think that's all I have to say about the legs. It's got some Inika coverage on here, but that's, you know, that's something you can see already. Don't really need to go over that. The pelvis. So we got another slicer foot here, as I want to do, but oddly enough, it is not filled in with clay and painted over like I usually do. I might get to that eventually. Who knows if that'll actually look better or worse with the way these textures are. You know how I am about textures, I'm just yeesh. But yeah, I'm gonna move to the back here. Oh yeah, update. That used to be silver in there, but I think cutting down on the overall amount of silver on the mock, there was actually a bit more silver on the ankles as well. But again, cutting down on the overall amount of silver on the mock, I think, helped the color blocking a bit. At least people haven't complained about it so far. But I haven't really posted it since, so maybe I'm just imagining things. Anyway, Not too far up. Right, so the butt. Honestly, nothing too much to talk about here. We just got a little bit of system in there to fill in some gaps. The color blocking is not the best. I could maybe fix that with paint, who knows? I could just paint that black or that red. Can't really decide. But I think the main thing to note here about the back is the way that the lower torso connects to the upper torso here with this Hordika neck here. And that is connected in the back. But that's fine, because the ball joint ends up being in the middle anyway, because of the weird way that Hordika necks are curved. Let's move this arm out of the way. But that's a little bit more weird, because there's this weird gap. And it is so much weirder when I actually show it in its full glory here. Just, come on. Oh. But yeah, so there's a lot of posability that can come out of this. Almost a full swivel, but, you know, who needs that? You certainly can't turn your body more than that, I wouldn't wager. And so, yeah, I think it's satisfactory. Can move back just a bit, a lot more if you actually move this armor piece out of the way, but we'll get to that later, just a bit later. And then to bend forward, this little piece in the torso has to get squeezed in. So it doesn't happen often, but she can bend forward, so that is a plus. Right, so I think that wraps up the pelvis. So let's move on to the upper torso here, and we can see this this glatorian helmet just in here as the chest piece. And that kind of goes with Elegy's theme, that she's, even though it's a Hero Factory headpiece, but you know, it's basically the same. So these I think it looks pretty good. The shaping is good, at least. The textures don't really match the rest of the at least what's on the legs, but I tried to at least give some sort of you can see what I did here. I carved a bit of a notch into these shoulder pads here just for the sake of making it match a little bit more. So I think that works at least a little bit better than not doing it at all. Have this weird tube piece. It's pneumatic, I think, used for air pressure builds. Some Technic builds that actually utilize air pressure, but I just went ahead and use it like any other tube here, except yeah. So that's pretty much that. If I'm fiddling around with this too much, though, like if I turn the head a bunch, you can see it like wobbling in there. So it's not super consistent, but it's not too hard to fix if I need to. Right. So let's move to the back here. And I said we would get to this, and so now here we are. This little Robo-Rider's armor here, it can move up and down. I mean, in lore that's not supposed to be a thing that it can do, but you know, if she wants to bend her torso backwards, then this has to be able to move. And you know, it doesn't look too bad when she's actually doing that, so it's fine. Right. And we just got a little bit of system in there to fill up some gappiness. Don't want her armpits to be too vulnerable now, do we? Right, so I think that's basically all I can think to talk about here with the torso. I could try, like, taking this off to show you a bit of how it's constructed. So yeah, for any of you who want to try and copy that, I won't be offended if you straight up copy what I've built here, with the torso at least. Yeah. Uh-oh. Trying to get this Technic thing back in might be a little harder than I thought it would be. Just give me a second. Alright, so that, right. if you would focus real quick. Focus? Okay. So, that's the torso. I'm going to move on to the arms. So, these arms, I think, are pretty good. It's actually the first time I've tried an arm build exactly like this, but, you know, I'm always doing different sorts of things with the arms and torso. Well, more often than not, I'm actually just using straight-up HF bones like I am here on the lower arms, but, you know, I think this is pretty nice. Just got some Technic holding some hand pieces together, and that's got a connection point for this armor piece here on top, and it looks pretty good, pretty nice. Got some tire coverage just to limit the stick figureness that the figure would tend to show. Tires are great. Use tires if you can. Turn them inside out if they don't seem to work. Turn them right side out if they still didn't work, and then just use them as actual tires on, like, system locks or something. Who knows? And then these lower arms, just, you know, completely uninteresting. Just you know, just a little bit of details here with the claws, and, you know, that's all she wrote. So, yeah, that is basically all I can think to say about her body here. So let's go up to the head and finish things off. Yeah, so we got a custom head. I don't do custom heads often, but when I do, they better be good. I'm not satisfied with I'm not usually satisfied with custom heads, and so there's just a ton of whips lying around. But I think this one is tried and true, since it's basically the same one that was on LG. So let me just take off this mask here, show you a bit of how it's made. Yeah, I painted some Technic under there. Get over it. This system is just sitting in there, connected to nothing. But it doesn't tend to move when the mask is on, so that is fine and dandy. Really like this unicorn horn. It's, you know, it's got nothing to do with the theme of the character, but holy crap, I think it just looks really good. So that is, yeah. And then you can see how this, these tubes connect underneath and into the mouth. Behind the mouth, actually. You know? That is, that's that. So, with that, I think we're just about done here. I think that's Anthem, boys and girls. So, I guess I'll just be seeing you next time with LG.